the identification of a mobile need and the delivery of something on these devices. So that device functionality can happen for your institution very quickly so that you can just focus on the application content, the functionality that you want in your institution, that your students need, and not have to worry about all the complexities of each device, of connecting it securely to the student information system, and other data. What if you were able to download out of community source a framework that did all of that for you and then enabled you to be able to connect to applications that were written by other institutions and allow you to write your own applications very quickly? That is in fact what our strategy became in interacting with the industry and what we call our development partners, which are institutions that help us at a development level. And that's what we came up. So this ecosystem is really the industry. It's all of you. That's the ecosystem. The ecosystem is comprised of institutions that contribute mobile apps, what we call MApps. And these MApps are very simple pieces of functionality that rely on a framework that's already done, that handles all the security, that handles everything that connects to it. Here's some examples of devices. But what does the framework look like? Well, it looks like this. So it's blank, right? But what's behind there? It's all the security and connectivity to various data in the back end. And of course, although I'm showing an iPhone here, we're talking about multiple devices and abstracting you from having to worry about the various devices, because each device is different. Each device has a different application framework in terms of the application itself and how it works. We get to abstract that for you so that you can configure an MApp, and then that MApp, because of the mobile framework, will run on various devices without you having to worry about each one. These are MApps. We released the mobile framework, which is now available. And of course, in order to get it started, we couple with it some MApps. These are examples: a grades app, a schedule app, and a few others. And you have some MApps that are available. You can tweak and configure those. You can build your own. They're actually quite simple and straightforward to do, because again, you don't have to worry about connecting to the student information system. You don't have to worry about all those complexities, etc. There's the grade app, UI, etc. But we give you the ability right in the framework to connect to RSS feeds. You don't have to worry about coding all of that. Those are there and available to each MApp. Calendar functionality. The mobile web, you can connect to any RESTful service, any web service out on the web, and integrate those into your MApps. Mapping data for dealing with data about your campus and locations and so forth, and of course directory data, and then obviously student information system connectivity is there as well, so you have access to all of that data. Again, I highlight. You'll hear more about this. I'm happy to answer any questions now, but essentially, in a nutshell, I share this example as a final example just to highlight the open nature in which we are developing software going forward, the collaborative nature in which we do so with the industry. The way in which we deploy software is very different and open going forward as well. And this is true for all of our software. So we have a few more minutes left. Actually, just a couple of minutes. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take those now. Yes, right here. The question was, we had an app called Holds. Rhett, what is Holds? Holds. The last corner.
Alert notification to a student that there's some type of
that's right.
to interact with the institution.
So if there's data, or if there's something, you know, like a grade that's being held or class, et cetera, it's an alert, so that you basically, so the student knows, oh, I got a parking ticket, or I have this or that, you know. That's what holds is. Thank you. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Yes, please.
When we're doing the student audit applications, there were huge applications still embedded with some COBOL code and so on. Are you saying that these applications have totally been rewritten so that they can work with, in this kind of environment, except modules?
So the question is, great question, thank you. The question is, does this strategy, the Open Digital Campus strategy, does this require a rewrite of applications? Because we have some COBOL code, we have a strong legacy of a lot of software, as you point out. That's a fantastic question. There are, in fact, as we work through this, and this is a multi-year strategy, this is actually, evolution is something we're never done with. In fact, that's why I call it evolution. Evolution is a permanent fixture in this organization. Why is it a permanent fixture? Well, it's simple. Technology is constantly changing. What is the next greatest thing next year or 5 years from now? I don't know, but I can guarantee there will be one. There'll be a next greatest thing. There'll be a new technology to take advantage of, new infrastructure. So the first part of my answer to you is that evolution is a permanent fixture of everything that we do going forward. Now, having said that, evolution means phases. It means looking at things in components. It certainly means decoupling the highly dependent stack into smaller components. And what that means is that, yes, in some cases, there will be a part of Banner or something else, Power Campus, other components, that in fact will be rewritten in some cases. In some cases, it's a translation. In some cases, it is wrapping it and abstracting the legacy away from it so we can invoke it from, for example, Infinity. In the Infinity examples, much of what is being invoked in those examples is legacy code that's merely wrapped around a web service. So there is not a single strategy technically for all of our source code because it's all different. It's modules and its capability that we ease into in an evolutionary fashion. So we're not rewriting the ERP. What we're doing is taking parts, and some parts are being rewritten. A good example is when I talked about the Project Horizon. This is the project that is essentially removing Oracle Forms. Oracle Forms is being retired, going away. In replace of it is a new rich Web 2.0 user interface. Those UIs are in fact being rewritten. Those UIs are in fact being rewritten. They are done so in an evolutionary fashion, module by module, component by component, to reduce risk and to make it flexible. But literally everyone is being rewritten because when you look at an Oracle form is proprietary code. It's Oracle code. There is no other compiler that can take an Oracle form and make it do anything else. So that's an example of parts and pieces that have to be reworked, rewritten. But thankfully, it's not all of the ERP, right? It's the UI later. And we have to take, as we're doing it, we have to take the logic that is in fact embedded in forms and remove it, put it in an N-tier architecture. That's what the Project Horizon does. It provides us a modern, N-tier, flexible SOA architecture by merely splitting off the logic from the UI. And when that project is done, you actually can turn off Oracle Forms. You don't need it anymore. So that's the modernization, so it's over time. Did I answer your question? Okay, fantastic. One more question, yes?
Yeah, just in terms of Banner evolution, what's your support strategy? I see that you can have different components at different release levels, if I'm understanding you correctly. Are you going to support all that, or have you got a strategy there?
The question is, what It's a great question, by the way. What is the support strategy relative to providing components? And that's a great question, because there is a very serious and strong investment that we've made in figuring that out. Because it's certainly one thing to provide large dot releases, right? Which is simpler from the perspective of release management. Simple. It's almost trivial compared to a world where you have components and what component works with what version of what, etc. So here's what we've done, and this will be, you'll actually see this in a month or two. Don't quote me. It's very shortly going to be made available. I don't have the exact release date, but we have a completely redone version of what you've perhaps have seen as the compatibility matrix. So the compatibility matrix has been a document that we've published in the past that does a very limited job in terms of identifying what works with what versions have been tested with what, etc. That's been completely redone. And what it has is an entire registry now. It's online, so it's not a document anymore. It's actually an online registry, where you go into this web page and you say, I have this component, it's of this version, this. You basically identify your infrastructure, the versions of and releases of various things. And then you can ask it questions. You can query it. You can say, okay, what if I have this component? What does it work? What's it tested with? We will, and we have, enhanced our testing environment to include a myriad of additional environments so that we can handle the load of this particular component, what it means. So when we give you modular releases, for example, you will have the ability to understand what it works with and what it doesn't. We obviously can't test an infinite permutation of combinatorics, so you need to have the information around what we have tested, and that's what we're going to provide in that fashion. And that will also be enhanced over time. The first version of it is basic. It has basically the way in which things are released today. But over time, as we release more and more components, you'll see more complexity with that registry. So that's a fantastic question.
Okay, and just a very brief
Yeah.
follow-up on it. Does it follow then that if that if the software says that this component X works with component Y, does it follow then that SunGard will support that combination?
Yes, so great question. The registry is loaded with our testing matrix. So in other words, what we test against what is loaded in there, and so you get those attributes. You will be, there's a couple of layers. So there's a layer in which you will understand that we've tested two components together, for example, and what the testing methodology was, what the attributes of those tests are. Then there's a layer in which certain components will identify have not been tested with the particular given attributes and environment as indicated, but the standards align in which they should. So, which is an indicator to you that you should test. If you want to use those components, you should obviously develop a test for it. Then, of course, there's a third layer that says these have not been tested, but they can't work together because there isn't an interface, or there isn't. So you have the ability to understand those levels and those attributes. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much. I'll be around today. Look forward to interacting with you. Thank you.